वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् वन्दे नवघनश्यामम् पीतकौशेयवाससम् सानन्दं सुन्दरं शुद्धं श्रीकृष्णं प्रकृते परम् अहोवकीयं स्तनकालकूटं जिघांसयापाययदप्यसाध्वी लेभे गतिं धात्र्युचितां ततोऽन्यं कं वा दयालुं शरणं व्रजेम यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तग्वंह देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये. Dear devotees, we'll have a few minutes of Nam Sankirtan, and after that I'll discuss the topic of why there are so many spiritual paths. Radhe Radhe Govinda bhajo, Radhe Radhe Govinda, 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 Radhe Radhe Govinda
राधे राधे गोविंदा भजो राधे राधे गोविंदा
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 बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की। We've been addressing some important questions about Hinduism and trying to clear some doubts and confusions which are commonly held by people. Today we've come to another important topic about spiritual paths. Yesterday I explained that Sanatan Dharma is eternal. It's the universal guidance for all souls, which is unchanged over yugas and kalps and even from one srishti to the next and everywhere in the universe. So one would wonder, when there's such a divine and pre-planned system of knowledge which is made available to the souls, then when you look in this knowledge of Sanatana Dharma, why does it seem that there is a confusion of paths, a confusion of spiritual practices? There are many, many different spiritual practices recommended at different places in our scriptures of Sanatana Dharma. So someone would wonder why. Why not just make it simple? But the reason is sensible. There's a perfectly good reason behind this. And it has to do with the nature of the people living in the world. Not everybody believes that they are the soul and that they are related to God, and not everyone is ready to accept that God is the ultimate aim of their life. In fact, the majority of the people are not ready to accept that. But Sanatana Dharma has to provide guidance for everybody, not just for the minority or select few whose spiritual consciousness has evolved to the point where they can accept that they're a divine soul who belongs only to God and only He is our happiness. Sanatana Dharma can't just be for those few people. It has to provide some kind of guidance for everybody. So how to guide them? It has been said that Sanatana Dharma is like a kalpa vriksh. The kalpa vriksh provides something for everybody. Or when I was a kid, we had the general store. You had stores that sold certain specialized items, but then you had the general store, where you could find a little bit of everything. So there was something for everyone in those stores. And nowadays, it would be like a big superstore, of which we have many different brands. So you walk into those places, it's like one-stop shopping. Anything you need, hardware, automotive, groceries, clothing, pharmacy, everything under one roof. That's what Sanatana Dharma is. It has to be able to provide guidance for everybody, no matter their level of spiritual consciousness. If someone is not even interested in God realization, what are they going to be interested in? They'll still want to know how to find happiness. So there has to be some kind of teaching to bring that person, encourage that person to at least not do wrong things in the pursuit of their pleasure. They may not be able to understand anything beyond that, but at least they may be able to understand if you do wrong things to other people, you'll suffer. In the future, you'll have to receive some punishment. So if you're not interested in God, you just want worldly enjoyments, okay, the best worldly enjoyments are in Swarg. Here, do all these Vedic rituals, observe all these formalities and rules and regulations of dharma and karma, and you'll go to Swarg and you'll enjoy things you never even imagined existed. It's like telling a 4-year-old boy who's crying because he doesn't want to go to school, you be a good boy now, go to school, and when you get home, I'll give you this chocolate. The chocolate is not the real goal of that boy's life, but for him, that's the most important thing in the world, is earning that chocolate. There's nothing more important than that. And in order to earn that chocolate, he's willing to go to school and come back. Similarly, a very materialistic-minded person who has no interest in God, just blind to the whole devotional philosophy, they can at least be incentivized to do all of these good actions with the goal of attaining Swarg. Is that the ultimate goal of their life? No. Is the path of karma, this path of aparadharma, is that going to take them to God? Are they going to attain ultimate happiness through that? No. Then what's the use of that? Well, this person, if they keep doing good actions, if they really want to get to Swarg, they actually have to discipline their mind in order to be able to perform all those rules and regulations of the path of karma. They actually have to discipline their mind. And they're going to, even without trying to, they're going to start developing the sattvic quality of their mind. And eventually, through doing this, they're going to get to the point where they're going to ask themselves the question, what's the real aim of life? Does God exist? Can anybody find God? Eventually, they'll get to that point. Just like that little boy will eventually realize the chocolate is not the goal of his life, that he needs to get an education so that he can be able to get a job and do all the things that an education allows you to do. So he'll graduate. Mentally, he'll graduate to that level. He'll transcend the need for the incentive of the chocolate. Similarly, Sanatana Dharma provides this type of incentive for selfish, worldly-minded people to help them evolve their sattvic, the sattva guna in their mind. Similarly, there are some other paths, like the path of yoga, just like the path of karma. Just by doing Ashtanga Yoga, no one's going to attain ultimate bliss or even freedom from Maya. What will they get? Siddhis. Okay, so someone is interested in developing their psychic powers. Everybody has psychic powers latent in their mind. It's just a matter of the right practice to bring that out. That's what they want. They want to experience those psychic powers. It's another type of worldly desire, nothing else. So, okay, for you there's a path of yoga. Practice yoga for lifetimes. Develop those siddhis. Use them, and as you use them, see that you lose your power. And also see how you get more and more attached in the world by using your siddhis. And your pride grows, and eventually you fall into the world. And eventually that yogi may realize, oh, this is not the real aim of life. I'm unable to conquer my desires or my anger through this path of yoga. I have to do devotion to God. Really, yoga is meant as a way of inducing someone towards the path of bhakti. If someone is more physically oriented, so okay, let them start by doing some yoga and disciplining their living style according to the teachings of sage Patanjali. But once they've developed that discipline and some more control over their mind, they're meant to divert their mind now towards Rup Dhyan, towards devotion to God. So yoga is also meant to induce someone eventually towards devotion to God, just like the path of karma is. The path of jnana also on its own, without devotion to God, can only give self-realization, not God realization, not knowledge of God, not freedom from Maya. So we have many paths. These are just a few. There's also practices of tapasya. There are many other spiritual practices that are actually recommended in our scriptures. But why are they recommended? Because there are specific practices for specific people according to their type of interest, their sanskar. Even if it's not going to take them all the way to God, at least it will induce them in a good direction. At least they won't do bad actions to try to attain what the pleasures they want. They'll at least Start moving in a good direction. Now that we have a general understanding of why these various paths exist and why they're described in our scriptures, let's have a brief look at a conversation between Uddhav ji and Shri Krishna that happened 5,000 years ago. Before Shri Krishna was to leave the earth, he told Uddhav he was leaving, and Uddhav wanted to ask him some questions and get some knowledge. Just like Arjuna had asked Shri Krishna some knowledge, and that's called the Bhagavad Gita. This is called the Uddhav Gita, when he asked questions and Shri Krishna answered. So, at one point he asks Shri Krishna, Vadanti Shreyansi Bahuni Brahmavadinah Tesham Vikalpa Pradhanya Mutaho Eka Mukhyata. Shri Krishna, there are so many people who talk about paths to God, and they all talk about different paths. So Uddhav wants to know, why are there so many paths described, and what is the right path to follow? So Shri Krishna says, Uddhav, Kalena nashta pralaye vaniyam veda sangita adau brahmane prokta dharmo yasyam madatmakah yatha prakriti sarvesham chitra vachah sravanti. He says, Uddhav, in the beginning, I introduce Vedas. I give the knowledge of Ved to Brahma, and he makes it available in the world through the rishis. That knowledge of Ved contains dharma. He says, Dharmo yasyam madatmakah. That dharma through which a person reaches me, that's what I introduce through the Vedas. So you see, there's ultimately one goal. A soul to reach Shri Krishna. That's the goal. That's the goal of Dharma. That's the goal of all the teachings of all of our scriptures. But Shri Krishna says, once Vedas are made available in the world, then the different types of people, depending upon the quality of their mind, interpret and apply the knowledge of Ved differently. So there are tamas people in the world, there are rajas people, there are sattvic people, and there are divine people, meaning saints, who are God-realized. A tamas-minded person is going to interpret my words in the Vedas in a tamas way. He's going to twist the meaning. A rajas person, even if he's a great Sanskrit scholar, if he's Rajas-minded, he is going to interpret my words in a Rajas way. He twists the meaning. A Sattvic-minded person is also going to interpret my words in a Sattvic way. He also twists the meaning. Only the one with the divine mind, the God-realized saint, can correctly interpret, apply, and teach my words in the Vedas. But Veda is available in print to everybody. Anyone can learn Sanskrit and start interpreting Vedas and teaching it. So Shri Krishna says this is what happens. And then the world gets filled up with all kinds of various interpretations of the original knowledge of Veda. So out of that, Shri Krishna says, out of that, different people start giving importance to different paths. Now, all these practices are mentioned in Veda, but keep in mind, they're all mentioned more like a pyramid type of structure leading towards Shri Krishna. That's the ultimate goal. So, at the bottom, maybe you have those practices for a purely worldly person to start doing good actions, even if it's with a worldly desire, and then rising above that, realizing that we have to desire God, and then learning how to surrender our mind to God, and then learning how to love God, and then learning the greatness of Prem and Radha Krishna Leelas and who is Radharani. So you see, it's getting like a higher and higher knowledge that fewer and fewer people are qualified to understand. But all of that knowledge is leading in that direction. That's how it's organized in a divine way. Just like in a town, all the educational institutions are coordinated. The elementary schools graduate people into middle schools, and they graduate people into high schools, who graduate people into post-secondary institutions, and they enter master's programs and PhD programs. It's like this pyramid structure of a systematic, intercoordinated education. It's the same exact thing with our scriptures of Sanatan Dharma, Ved, Upanishads, Gita, Darshan Shastras, Bhagavatam. These are all arranged in this type of pyramid structure, leading up to the Rasik Vani, the teachings of those Rasik saints who have actually experienced the bliss of Radha and Krishna. But when people start twisting the meaning of these scriptures, they give particular importance to that thing that suits their fancy. So Shri Krishna says, Dharmameke yashaschanye kamam satyam damam shamam anye vadanti swartham va aishwaryam tyaga bhojanam Kechid yagya tapodanam vratani niyaman adyantavanta evaisham loka karma vinirmita dukkho darkastamo nishtha chudrananda shucharpita. Just to summarize what he's saying, he mentioned all kinds of practices which are told about in his Vedas. And he says, none of these lead to ultimate happiness. They all keep you under Maya. He mentioned the physical practices of dharma. He mentioned vrat. He mentioned swadhyay. He mentioned tap. He mentioned yam, niyam, sham, dam, satya, all these practices. And he said, none of them take you to God realization or liberation from Maya. They all keep you in the material realm, in the cycle of rebirth. And the pleasure, the happiness they give is temporary and always mixed with dissatisfaction and even unhappiness. So although all these paths are wrong, if someone takes them to be the ultimate path, the ultimate path has to take one to God. So what is that path? He says, Bhaktyaham grahya shraddhayatma priyah satam Bhakti punati mannishtha shvapakanapi sambhavat. I am only attainable through bhakti. Bhakti means loving surrender of our heart and mind to Shri Krishna. We have to surrender to Him because the only way to reach Him is through His grace. And to receive His grace, we have to open our mind to receive it. So we have to surrender our mind to Him. That is why bhakti is the only path to God. There's not even two paths to God, one path to God. Na sadhayati mam yogo na jnanam dharma uddhava na swadhyayastapastyago yatha bhaktir mamorjita. He mentions 6 things. He says, I am not attainable through any of those. Not through karma dharma, not through yoga, not through gyan, not through swadhyay, not through tap, not through tyag. I am only captured, captivated, conquered by bhakti. In fact, yat karma bhir yat tapasa jnana vairagya taschayat yogena dana dharmena shreyo bhiritarairapi. Uddhav, whatever results you're going to get through following any of those other paths, you get it automatically through bhakti. Everything through bhakti. But those other paths, dharma satya dayopeta vidya va tapasanvita. He mentions about dharma and gyan, 2 great paths. He says, mad bhaktya petamatmanam na samyak prapunati. Bhakti has the power to completely purify your antahakaran. But even dharma done with total satya, with perfect truthfulness, or the path of gyan with total renunciation, such great things, even these 2 don't have the power, nasamyak prapunatihi. They don't have the power to completely purify your heart like bhakti does. So bhakti is the only path to God. Surrender of one's mind to receive God's grace is the only means of attaining God. All other paths, they could be surrendered to bhakti. In other words, if the tapasvi or the jnani or the yogi or the karmi, while practicing their path, surrender to Shri Krishna, then they can reach God, but it's the surrender that results in God realization. So the ultimate goal of our life is only attained through bhakti. That is the correct path to God. All other paths eventually have to lead to bhakti. They have to result in bhakti. Otherwise, they're incomplete and they only result in rebirth and continued Maya bondage. So today I explained to you in brief that devotion or bhakti is the supreme path, the only path to God. And all the other paths mentioned in the scriptures are meant to lead one, to get one to the point where they realize, now I have to do bhakti. So all these practices are leading to the same place. All the teachings of our scriptures are leading to the same place. It's all systematically organized. So we should respect all these teachings and spiritual practices that are described in our scriptures, but at the same time we have to realize that ultimately one has to do bhakti in order to attain God. This leaves us with one more important question, which I'll take up tomorrow, which is, even within the path of bhakti, even if we get 100 people in a room, 100 saints in a room, who all agree bhakti is the only path to God, they'll all teach bhakti differently. They worship different forms of God. They teach different physical practices of how to do devotion to God, and they explain the philosophy differently. Why is that? Why can that not be simplified? Why do we have so many sampradaya and people who say this sampradaya is correct? No, this sampradaya is correct. And it's all within the path of bhakti. So tomorrow I'll clear up this subject and clarify the path once and for all, taking the help of the teachings of Shri Kripaluji Maharaj. Now today is Hariyali Teej, so I wrapped up my lecture a little bit early today so that I could do some chanting of a couple of beautiful Jhulan Leela songs that Shri Kripaluji Maharaj has written to help us visualize Radha and Krishna swinging, celebrating Hariyali Teej, and we can also feel the excitement and feel the happiness of serving Radha and Krishna by having them do a Jhulan Leela and enjoy a little taste of the bliss of Radha and Krishna's Leelas. Sudama kahan hai? So this is Savan Mas that we're in. It's also known as the rainy season in Braj. And in this rainy season, Radha and Krishna used to love to do swinging leelas. So here Shri Maharaj Ji has described in the words of the gopis, "O Gopi, O Sakhi, look at the beauty of this Savan Mas. Naval Nikunj Manju Bich Jhulat Naval Yugal Sarkar." Look at Radha and Krishna. They're in a beautiful kunj. And they're so beautifully dressed and decorated. And they're enjoying this weather of Savan Mas and swinging on the jhula. Pakare do ik kar dorina ik kar gar dar. So they're sitting side by side on the jhula, and Radharani on this side is holding with her left hand on one of the silken ropes of the jhula, and with her other hand she has her arm around Krishna's neck. And on the other side, Krishna is holding this rope, silken rope of the jhula, and with his left hand he has his arm around Radharani's neck. दो हैं झोंटे झूमी झूमी झुकी एक ही एक निहार. So they're really like swinging. Gopis are pushing, but they're also swinging their legs forward, pulling them back, so they're trying to get more momentum, and they're like making the swing jostle a little bit because they're having fun. And as they're doing that, they keep looking towards each other in a very sweet way. फहरत नील पीत पट अंचल चंचल लट घुंघरार. Radharani's blue sari and her chunari, it's flapping. As they go forward, as they come back, Shri Krishna's peet pat, his yellow pitambar that he wears, that's also moving in the wind like that as they go forward and back. and their curly locks of hair are also moving in the wind. So when we sing this, you can see that in your mind. You can visualize all of this. Gavat rag malar duhun mili, Ali kar swara vistar. So Radha and Krishna are singing this particular rag malar, which is sung at this time during the Savan Mas. When it's sung properly, it has the power to excite the clouds so that they do a little bit of rumbling and a little bit of distant lightning and a little bit of light drizzle to add to the atmosphere. So Radha and Krishna are singing together with their sweet voices this Rag Malar, and gopis are adding in, doing some alap, while Radha and Krishna are singing the main melody. Sakhina bajavati been venu ko sab praveen ikasar. Sakhis are playing some instruments, and they're all perfectly coordinated, and they're supporting the singing of Radha and Krishna. Lakhi kripalu kah do mama thakur jai ho jai balihar. Kripaluji Maharaj says, seeing my both Thakur, the owners, the king and queen of my heart, Radha and Krishna, seeing them in this beautiful scene, I can only say Jai Ho, Jai Balihar. So we'll sing this kirtan now, and you're welcome to face Radha and Krishna on the stage in their jhula, and if anyone wants to take turns going up and swinging them, you're welcome to go and take a turn. And we need some people on the responder mic. If anyone has sung this Savan Mas Bahar before. It's a little tricky. सावन मास बहार देखु सखी सावन सावन मास बहार देखु सखी
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 नवल मंजू बिच झूलत
नवल निकुंज मंजू बिच झूलत
नवल निकुंज मंजू बिच झूलत
नवल निकुंज मंजू बिच झूलत
नवल युगल सरकार देखु सखी,
नवल युगल सरकार देखु सखी,
नवल युगल सरकार देखु सखी,
नवल युगल सरकार देखु सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखु सखी,
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 सावन मास बहार देखु सखी।
पकरे लो इक इक कर लोरिन,
पकरे दो एक एक कर डोरिन,
पकरे दो इक इक कर डोरिन,
पकरे दो एक एक कर डोरिन,
इक इक कर गर डार देखु सखी,
एक एक कर गर डार देखु सखी,
इक इक कर गर डार देखु सखी,
एक एक कर गर डार देखु सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखु सखी,
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 सावन मास बहार देखु सखी।
दूध झोंटे झूमी झूमी झुकी,
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 एक एक निहार देखु सखी,
एक एक निहार देखु सखी,
एक एक निहार देखु सखी,
एक एक निहार देखु सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखु सखी,
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 सावन मास बहार देखु सखी।
भारत नील पीत पट अंचल,
बहर भारत नील पीत पट अंचल
भारत नील पीत पट अंचल
भारत नील पीत पट अंचल
चंचल चंचल लट घुंघरार देखु सखी
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 सावन मास बहार 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 देखु सखी
गावत राग मलार धुन मिली
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 अलिकर स्वर विस्तार देखु सखी
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 सावन मास बहार 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 देखु सखी सावन
मास बहार देखु सखी
सावन मास बहार देखु सखी
सखीन बजावती बीन वेणु को
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 सब प्रवीण एक सार देखु सखी
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 सावन मास बहार देखु सखी
सावन मास बहार देखु सखी
सावन मास बहार देखु सखी
सावन मास मास बहार देखूं सखी।
सावन 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 मास बहार देखूं सखी।
लखी कृपालु कह दो मम ठाकुर।
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 जय हो जय बलिहार देखो सखी।
जय हो जय बलिहार देखूं सखी।
जय हो जय बलिहार देखो सखी।
जय हो जय बलिहार देखूं सखी।
जय हो जय बलिहार देखो सखी।
जय हो जय बलिहार देखूं सखी।
जय हो जय बलिहार देखो सखी।
जय हो जय बलिहार देखूं सखी।
ओ सावन मास बहार देखो सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखूं सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखो सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखूं सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखो सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखूं सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखो सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखूं सखी।
लखी कृपालु कह दो मम ठाकुर।
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 जय हो जय बलिहार देखो सखी।
जय हो जय बलिहार देखूं सखी।
जय हो जय बलिहार देखो सखी।
जय हो जय बलिहार देखूं सखी।
जय हो जय बलिहार देखो सखी।
जय हो जय बलिहार देखूं सखी।
जय हो जय बलिहार देखो सखी।
जय हो जय बलिहार देखूं सखी।
ओ सावन मास बहार देखो सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखूं सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखो सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखूं सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखो सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखूं सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखो सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखूं सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखो सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखूं सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखो सखी।
सावन मास बहार देखूं सखी।
बोलो लाडली लाल की
जय।
Kadamba ki Dari we can do for 5 minutes. Yeah, it's in the book.
Page 107. We'll sing one more short Julan Kirtan. कदम्ब की डारी झूले राधा प्यारी,
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 झूले राधा प्यारी झूलावे बनवारी,
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 झूलावे बनवारी,
झूलावे बनवारी,
झूलावे बनवारी,
झूलावे बनवारी,
कदम्ब की डारी झूले राधा प्यारी,
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 गावे ब्रज नारी दद कर तारी,
गावे ब्रज नारी दे दे कर तारी,
गावे ब्रज नारी दद कर तारी,
गावे ब्रज नारी दे दे कर तारी,
दद कर तारी,
दद कर तारी,
दद कर तारी,
दद कर तारी,
कदम्ब
जय हो।
की डारी झूले राधा प्यारी,
कदम्ब की डारी झूले राधा प्यारी,
कुंज बिहारी बोले बलिहारी,
कुंज बिहारी बोले बलिहारी,
कुंज बिहारी बोले बलिहारी,
कुंज बिहारी बोले बलिहारी,
बोले बलिहारी,
बोले बलिहारी,
बोले बलिहारी,
बोले बलिहारी,
कदम्ब की डारी झूले राधा प्यारी,
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 हाँ वारी वारी झांकी लखी न्यारी,
वारी सखी करी प्यारी,
हाँ वारी झाकी लखी न्यारी
जाओ मारी गारी जाकी लखी न्यारी
बनी ब्रज नारी नाचे मद नारी बनी ब्रज नारी नाचे मद नारी हाँ नाचे मद नारी नाचे मद नारी हाँ कदम्ब की डारी झूले राधा प्यारी
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 कबहू मुरारी झोंटा दे भारी
कबहू मुरारी झोटा दे भारी
कबहू मुरारी झोंटा दे भारी
कबहू मुरारी झोटा दे भारी
झोंटा दे भारी
झोटा दे भारी
झोंटा दे भारी
झोटा दे भारी
अति सुकुमारी डरपति प्यारी
अति सुकुमारी डरपति प्यारी
अति सुकुमारी डरपति प्यारी
अति सुकुमारी डरपति प्यारी
डरपति प्यारी
डरपति प्यारी
डरपति प्यारी
डरपति प्यारी
झूलावे बनवारी
झूलावे बनवारी
झूलावे बनवारी
झूलावे बनवारी
हाँ बोले बलिहारी
बोले बलिहारी
हाँ बोले बलिहारी
बोले बलिहारी
झूले राधा प्यारी झूलावे बनवारी
झूले राधा प्यारी झूलावे बनवारी
कदम्ब की डारी झूले राधा प्यारी
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 बोलो श्यामा श्याम की We can all stand for Arti.